former British Member of Parliament and Minister for Europe. Now, Denis, it appears that the chances for Rishi Sunak to become the next Prime Minister of the UK are very high. Tell me, if he does become the Prime Minister, what is he going to do differently from Liz Truss?
That's a very, very good question. He's the richest man in Europe, a politician in Europe. He spent his adult life after Oxford making a fortune in California and hedge funds and speculative funds, and then came back to campaign against Europe. And that's one of his problems. This morning, we had one of the Tories' biggest donors saying, we've got to move away from this rigid Brexit ideology. But Rishi is an isolationist. Now, for the rest of it, he's a conservative, American-educated, trained finance minister. Don't think he understands much about any ordinary people's problems. And he's going to just have a very tricky year or two, because the nation, by every opinion poll and every comment, finally has sort of really decided it's time for a change. And Rishi just will be minding the shop until an election, and then the Labour Party will take over. It may not get a complete majority, and it may not be a big win, but I don't think many people now think the Conservatives will be in power after 2024.
And you know, Denis, over the past 4 months, the UK has lived through 4 chancellors, 3 home secretaries, and 2 prime ministers. What does it tell us about the current state of politics in the United Kingdom?
Without precedent. I mean, I've been nearly 50 years doing politics. Okay, on the other side of the aisle for the Labour Party, standing for parliaments and councils and holding offices, party offices, then a minister and an MP and historian and all the rest of it. We go way 200 years back, and the Tory party have never behaved like this. And somehow the Brexit ideology, the anti-European ideology, is like a virus that took them over. And then since 2016, Brexit, we voted for it, but it has swallowed by four prime ministers, probably a 5th with Rishi, endless other ministers. The country's got poorer. It's having terrible rows with Europe. Joe Biden is very unhappy about the games being played in Ireland by the hardline Brexit government. Now, Rishi's got to put some of that right, but he's going to disappoint all those people who really, really believe that if only we cut links with Europe, Britain would enter a splendid, wonderful world of growth, of prosperity, of fair wages, of good houses, good, etc., etc. And that reality check has not yet, I think, confronted any of us. I mean, not just the Tories. So I'm not expecting anything other than a very traditional, rigorous sort of IMF budget, cut public expenditure, slash spending on education, health, defence, probably increase taxes, and to try and get the budget into some IMF-approved equilibrium. I mean, quite soon it may well be the IMF will have to supervise the British economy as it did in the 1970s, or it did perhaps in Greece after the financial crisis of 2008-9.
And no chances for an early election, in your view?
No, simply because you have 380 Tory MPs who've got a very decent majority. And we don't have the rule as in most countries that says the election must happen every 4 years or every 5 years. It's in the Constitution. It's in the rule book. I mean, a US president, a French president can't just pop up and say, oh, I fancy an election tomorrow like Theresa May did or then Boris Johnson did. So to hold that election, it means that MPs have to vote for it. And many of those 380 Tory MPs fear that they'll lose their seats. And the idea of Tory turkeys voting for Christmas just isn't very probable. They'll cling on and on and on, keep their money, their expenses, their status, another year, another 18 months, and then hope desperately something will turn up. I don't think it will. Many of them, my friends, I don't wish them ill, but no, we're not going to let the people decide. The people have been utterly kicked out of all this process.
All right, Denis MacShane, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure